Hi, this is Sarah, the Stitchin Mommy, and it's Monday, October 6th, 2025, here for my weekly cross-stitching update, and it's 2 weeks late because last week I was out of town. We went on a belated anniversary trip to Vancouver, BC, British Columbia, so that was a lot of fun. It did rain off and on, but we managed to time it so we could still see everything we wanted to see, and lots of parks and gardens and things. And then we loved the suspension bridge park. That was a lot of fun. It kind of reminded me of an Ewok village with all they had bridges from tree to tree, and it was very cool. So we had a lot of fun. And now we're home, but I have a little bit different plans while we were gone, and I'm behind on some the bonus games, but you know, it's okay. I have a lot to share because of the 2 weeks worth of stuff, and Smokey is here enjoying my pets right now. So when I stop petting her, she's probably gonna come back here, but she's pretty happy. So I guess we'll start with travel stitching since I did a lot of that. My travel stitch right now is Cats and Hearts November by Kitty and Me Designs. This one is the last one that I have to do in the series, and you could find these on her Etsy shop. Kitty and Me has some patterns elsewhere on other sites, but I think, at least when I bought mine, the Etsy shop was the only place to find the hearts. So they're very fun. I have them all in a little frame. You can kind of see the corner of it right there. And I switch them out once a month. So I made a lot of progress on this. So I had my waiting for the kids after school time last week, the week of the 22nd, and then a little bit at the end of this past week, plus airport time, airplane time. I think that the plane ride was about 2.5 hours each way, plus a little bit of time in the airport. So lots of progress. So this is where it's at now. And this is a 25 count even weave in white, 1/1 full cross. All the called for DMCs except for the kitty cat, who is in 535 to match this one instead of the 310 that's called for. So I'm color completing. There's 5 shades of each of the colors. There's yellow, orange, and brown, and I'm doing 5 shades of each, and I'm doing them did all the lightest yellow, then all the lightest orange, then all the lightest tan, then I go back to the yellow, all of the second lightest yellow, and you know, like that. So I'm currently on the second darkest, the 4th brown. So as soon as I'm done with that 4th brown, I will go to the darkest of all of them, and then it'll be almost done. So there's just a little bit of the kitty cat left down here, the little bit of the brown, a little bit of the second darkest brown, and then all the darker shades, which includes some backstitching in brown, which there's a good amount of backstitching on this one, but it's all one color of backstitching. So that one's gonna be fun, and I will possibly finish it this week, maybe. That could be fun. If I do, I don't know that I will, I could show these. I don't know that I will have time to start a different one before the week's out, because that might take me all week, but if I do, I'll go back to the next seed packet series, which would be roses. So I have not yet picked my reds, but I'm using the same greens and browns and blacks that I have in all of them. So I've got those ready to go. And then all the rest are, so I'll pick some reds and go to town on that one if I finish this before I come back to you. I'm not sure if I will get that far, but you never know. I have a Fat Quarter Shop package here, so I might as well show that real quick. That came while I was gone, some of their new items. A lot of this is quilting this time around. So there's oh, this is cute. I think this may be the only cross stitch one, Completely Catty. It's one of the bag patterns by Pennyberry. It's the Pennyberry Farm series by Kim Deal, and this one has a kitty cat in it, going through a ring of flowers and leaves and stuff. So bath time, kitty. So that's a cute one. If you would like those projects where you can stitch on the bags, you could do it on regular fabric too. You don't have to do it on a bag, but that's kind of the intention. And then they have 2 Quilt Patterns by Cassidy Grace. Threaded Star, which comes with measurements for 2 different sizes. And Rows of Bows, which is fun. I like things that, quilts that actually make items. Those are always nice. And then a big book, well not big, but a book. Fat Quarters by the Dozen by It's So Emma. And this one has 12 quilt patterns in it. I thought I would show you them real quick just because, why not? So there's the Beams quilt. They have a nice big picture for each one. Blue Bonnets quilt. That one's pretty. I like that one. I'm kind of I like flower stuff. And Celebration quilt. That's fun too with the different size pinwheels. Checkmate quilt. That's fun. They're alphabetical. Composition quilt. This is hard to do, to make sure I fold it back. Fireflies quilt. This one's kind of fun. It looks more floral to me, but that's fun. I guess it's meant to be maybe the fireflies in the middle with the light shining out. Gardenia quilt. Bigger flowers there. Halo quilt. That's a pretty one. Nice soft, the way they did it all in blues and whites. Luminary quilt. That's a happy one. Majestic quilt. And is this the last one? Sunbeam quilt, I believe, is the last one. That's a nice autumn palette they used there. So that's fun. It's always nice to have something like that on hand. So then another travel piece that I didn't work on last week because we went up to Vancouver on a Sunday. So I didn't bring my Sunday stitch. I just brought my travel piece and a couple other pieces. So this is my Sunday stitch that I've been working on in the car, doing 1 length of floss on to and from church on Sundays. This is by My Big Toe, Books of the Bible. And I did get to do a length of floss yesterday, so that was nice to get back to this. It's been a while. So here is this one. It's on 25 count. Be Stitch Me Through the Stones, 1/1 full cross. And I finally finished Lamentations. It just said lame for a while. And then pulled this border down, which had been needing to be done for a while, but I ended up stitching some of these letters for the ABCingo game in Magazine Monthly Challenge, and the border didn't count for a motif when I was stitching letters for that game. So this time I'm like, I need to do some border. So I did some border. Now it's ready to go for the next couple lines there. Let's see. Oh yes, I got some things on vacation. One of the places we went was Granville Island Public Market, and then they had a couple little shops outside the public market too. One was a silk store, so they had lots of silk, and like, I don't know if all of the yarn was silk too, but they had a lot of like fibers and stuff in there. So I needed to not come home with nothing, so I got a skein of silk. It says San Jo silk. And this is a little bit, it's a 1 ply, but I think, I got the burgundy because it's like pretty much my favorite color for stitching. It's a 1 ply, but I think it would be maybe like a 1.5 strand DMC. Like it's a fluffier thing. It's not as thick as a pearl cotton, but I can do something with that. So I picked up that, and then they had a fabric store for quilting. And originally I'm like, I probably won't get anything because I'm not really doing a lot of sewing right now. But then I saw this fabric. And it was so cute, I couldn't leave it there. So then I was poking around. I'm like, well, if I made this into a project bag or something, what would go with it? And then I found these fish bones, which would go, they went really nicely with the colors. And then you have the fish bones inside the kitty cats that they finished up all their fish. So I thought that was really cute. And it went together nicely and made me laugh. So that's what I picked up on vacation. Then, let's see, I had I was working on ABCingo still since my last video. And for ABCingo, I was working on, mostly on Sampler of Fleur by Jardin Privé. And I was trying to do a letter according to which letter was called each day. Sometimes they called a number. So then I would do, supposed to do the number of motifs that the number is called, which is why a few weeks ago I ended up using the books of the Bible because that was the easiest thing to do. But in this one, 2 numbers were called at the very end, and I ended up finishing a lot of this alphabet, which ensures that I counted correctly when I came down here to do like the Z and the X and stuff like that. So that was fun. I'm doing this in a I'm doing this in a 40 count linen in Morganite by Fiber on a Whim. 1/2 with a Soie d'Alger silk conversion to see what I like, if how I liked the coverage of that compared to DMC, and I do like it. It's a little bit thicker, so 40 count 1/2 with DMC is a little bit too sparse for me. I know it's kind of a samplery look, but it's not really my look, I guess. So I ended up doing some of this stuff. I guess V, so I probably did this V, then H, I might have done that H, and then 9 and 8. So then I did a lot of these letters for 9 and 8. So there's a heart in the middle there, and then I have the Y, I guess, left to do, and the T for this alphabet to be all done. But next time I pull this out, I'll probably just come back up here and keep working properly across the top, like finish this E that is still not done. I guess E didn't get called. Where's my ABCingo board? Let me get that out for you. So I ended up getting 2 bingos, which was fun. I was not participating officially because I wasn't doing 100 stitches or an hour. I was just doing 1 letter or something. The days I did the motifs, I technically counted, but all the letters didn't count. Because I don't think any of them were up to 100 stitches or an hour. So, but I did it for me, for fun, and I ended up getting 2 vertical bingos. I didn't quite get any horizontal bingos. This one was close. But yeah, the E never got called. So that one that was partially finished, I kept hoping I could finish that during this game, but alas, it didn't work. Okay, so once the ABCingo was over, I went into a temperature daily 30 using some of my favorite pieces that are in Pattern Keeper because it's my birthday month. The end of September was my birthday month. So I ended up working on a few of them. Let's see. That had nothing to do with ABCingo being done. I had already been doing that since the end of La Vuelta stitching. So I had already done a whole week of this. So you've seen some of these before. I was like, I didn't think, anyways, I did more of that. So I worked on, let's see, I worked on Hidden Harbor. Looks like 3 times since my last video. So this got roughly an hour and a half, I guess, because a half hour each time. This is artwork by Andy Russell, Heaven and Earth Designs. This is the color expansion version. And I'm picking symbols up here and kind of filling them in wherever I can along the top. And I don't have the numbers added up here for you. Let's see. Oh, it looks like only twice since I saw you last. So a little over, maybe 230 stitches. About an hour. This is on a 28 count tea-dyed Monaco, and it's a 1/1 full cross. And I love working on this. So I worked there in the middle, filling in. I think I probably filled in 1 block at least, and then kind of worked in here wherever my strings took me. This is still not, well, it's close to the edge because that's really close. Yeah, I'm not sure how close to the edge I am on that side, but so fun. And then Patchwork Quilt Room looks like it got 2 more calls since my last video. This is a quick stitch version, and I'm cropping it even more. This is also Heaven and Earth Designs, artwork by Ciro Marchetti, and I'm cropping off the top. So I'm having a long skinny piece, and I'm currently in this part, window and pot of flowers. And I think I ended up doing some wood paneling. Similar, this one got, oh, this one I did even more. Let's see. So 1, 2, probably around 300 stitches. So there's this one. This is a 40 count Verdal, 1/1, half cross. And I think I got so much at one point because I was working in the wood and just kept going. But it looks like I maybe did some of this yellow as well, because I was, you know, picking symbols along the 10 by 10 grid up here, which didn't quite get into the butterfly, but some of the colors were in the butterfly, some of the colors were in these flowers. And then I finally got over to some of these colors and got to fill that in more. So that's fun. And then Hibiscus Fairy got called twice. So this last week of this temperature favorites was just 3 projects, each 2 days each, which is nice. So this last week, Hidden Hummingbird and Roses and Bees on a Flower did not get called, but that's okay. I worked on them last time, or previous weeks. This is Hibiscus Fairy, also Heaven and Earth Designs. All 3 of these were. And I'm also doing this one on Tea-Dyed Monaco, 1/1 full cross. If I can find it, here it is. Just like Hidden Harbor, it's the same kind of fabric from the craft store. And this one got, let's see, a little less than 200 stitches because I didn't quite get 100 either time. But progress is progress. And I think I might have worked in here some because the stitches, symbols that were picked maybe went down a little bit too, to the next places where they were. I think it's been a while since I worked on these. I don't quite remember. So those are always fun. I think, let's see, should we do some more? No, we'll wait on that. So let's do like focus stitching for September before my vacation, because then I don't hardly remember it. So we'll just get it done and then we can move forward with the rest of it. So this is Ranunculus, was my gift stitch 2 weeks ago by Cooler Design Studio, designed by Nancy Rossi. And this one got for like a little over 700 stitches. This is a 24 count Congress cloth in light mocha, 2/1, half stitch. And it's now at 39.20%. I guess I didn't give you any percentages of those other ones, but they're all not super far. But this one is 39.20%. That's great. It's getting there. Coming along, almost 40%. That one moves quick every time I work on it, so that'll be fun. Next year, I'm planning to give my gift stitches 3 days a week, so they'll move even faster next year, which is good. Then I worked on My Story for a couple more days, which was a whip go piece for September. This is by Jeanette Douglas. I do have some lingering faint hopes that I could get this done this year, but I don't know. I ended up subbing it out on my whip go board for, I think, Enchanted Alphabet or something. So it will come back out for whip go again, not in October, but November, December potentially. So these motifs end up taking a long time, as I found out on the top section. So, but the bands don't take that long. So I guess I'm doing these bands now. But it looks like this is a more detailed band down here with all the boxes. I don't know, birdhouses, I mean. But we'll see. You never know. There's still 3 months of the year left. So this one is on, I think, a lamb's wool maybe, or a natural linen. And I'm using all my own colors, but they're very similar to what's called for. And I think I just did some specialty stitches last time, and it was starting to get closer to just a busy time getting ready for our trip. So I worked in these mountains the first day, and the second day I did like 1.5 of these sparkly snowflakes, which has 2 different colors of regular floss blended with some blending filament. So this was one color snowflake, this is another color, then it'll go back to this first color, and then this color will be over here. So there's like alternating snowflakes. So it's possible that I could maybe get this done with more effort, but we'll see. It is fun to work on when I have time. Just always seems to be weeks that I don't have a lot of time. Then I started my second to last birthday start on Friday, and this was a busy day. We weren't home that much. This is by Madame Chantilly, and it's so cute. And so I got 63 stitches done on that day, the day I started it, which is hardly anything at all. And I wanted to get 2 days on it, but Saturday I really didn't have any time because we were really moving to get everything ready for leaving early the next morning, getting my kids settled with grandparents and all the things. So I didn't work on anything major, like my official pieces. I think I just did a half hour on Hidden Harbor and called it good. So after our vacation, I came back and I had 3 days slotted for a piece at the beginning of October, and I ended up choosing one of those days to give to Cats in the Rain because I wanted to give it at least 2 days. So the second day I got 272 stitches, much better to make up for the small start on day 1. So this is my start on Cats in the Rain, and it's so cute. This is 40 count Stormy Night linen, 1/2 full cross. And I actually don't mind the coverage on this. So this linen is pretty nice. Easy to see the holes actually for me anyways. Got her face is all done except for her like elastic bands in her hair. And she's got more hat and then the umbrella and everything. I'll try to do the top down. At this point I'm heading up and then I'll come back down. But that's a fun piece of fabric too for a gloomy, rainy scene. So that is fun. This one is started out super small. I charted it out to be able to put it in Pattern Keeper, and so it's already one of the pieces with the least amount of stitches remaining before I even started it. So towards the end of the year here, as I kind of focus on finishing things, it might actually come out again to be in the mix for just pushing things towards the finish. So I haven't 100% nailed down what I want to do in November and December for bonus stitching as far as all of that goes. So we'll wait and see. But I have different ideas floating around in my head. So. Okay, and then while we were on vacation, I brought along my last birthday start, which is Pretzel by Mill Hill, because I figured this would be really easy to take along and see in a hotel room because it's on 14 count perforated paper, and I was not wrong. I actually had this slotted to do fall floral cross on Sunday and Monday, and brought that along with me too. And then this one would get Tuesday and Wednesday, going into October a little bit. I'm like, once I got there, I'm like, I don't want to work on fall cross. I want to work on my pretzel. So I did. So I started the pretzel on Sunday, and I finished it on Monday. So it's done already. Isn't that cute? Took me 2 days to finish this, and it's so fun. Lots of beads in there. You can see them sparkle there. There's brown beads, white beads, and teal beads. So super fun. I need to cut it out. I'll probably do the magnet for my fridge, and that'll be fun. So got that done. Start and finish. And then I also, since the pretzel was done, I went ahead and worked on my fall cross that I brought along. Again, I figured it would be easy to see in a hotel room because it's on 14 count Aida, and so I did. The first day I worked on this, I think, I ended up just doing some back stitching. I finished up the back stitching on my needle, I think over here, this same day I finished pretzel, and then gave it one more like full day of cross stitching. So it was not quite as much maybe as I was originally planning to give it, but I was happy with my progress and my stopping point. And so when I got home, I think that's also like travel day. When we came home, I didn't have a lot of time either. So I just did my half-hour piece and was happy with that. So this is progress on Fall Floral Cross. This is a Cooler Design Studio pattern, and I have it in Pattern Keeper now because I bought the digital version from Cooler Design Studio, and I'm happy about that. But I am doing backstitching as I go, so I did some of that. I did some backstitching over here and some up here in the sticks and the wheat, which is really cool to finally see that coming out. And then I started adding a little bit more cross-stitching as well. I think, yeah, 213 stitches plus backstitch. So it's now at 11.17%. And that's fun. So this one is done for the year. I have plans next year to pull out all my crosses in April for my bonus stitching in April. So I think it'll be fun to have those coming back out then. And then let's see, continuing on, we came home, did another day on Cats in the Rain. And then I got to work on my miscellaneous project that I kind of threw in the time in between full weeks of September and October. So I did Let's Get Spooky for 2 days. This is by Imaginating, Ursula Michael. And it's so cute. And I was tempted to do more on Sunday instead of Autumn Montage, but I'm glad I didn't, just because I ended up working on something else for a really long time on Sunday, which I'll get to. I'm doing this in my own colors that I picked, because why not? They're like Victorian Motto, Color and Cotton, and General Art, I think. So here is where this one got to in the 2 days. This is a 32 count even weave by Live and Dye LA, and it's Sleigh Bells, I believe, is the color name. And it's a 2/2 full cross and then a 1 strand backstitchings. I did most of this moon. I think there's a few more letters here in the moon arch. Some of this green, and then I did the tail is all the way done. And this corner is all the way done of the kitty cat, but all of this still needs to get filled in. And the rest of this is more hocus pocus words right here that's not backstitch yet. I did all the cross stitches in the kitty cat, so everything else in there is backstitch. And then we've got a few more vines and then the big pumpkin at the bottom. So this is close to halfway done. This is another one that may actually see some time here at the end of the year because it's not technically got that much left, and so it might kind of go in the mix of things that are close to a finish to get some extra attention. So we'll see. So you may see that again before the end of the year. Then I did work a little bit on Autumn Montage, just a little bit, on Sunday, because I had a lot of other stuff I was doing on Sunday. But I did a little bit at the end of the night. This is Autumn Montage by Pain Free Crafts. It's currently retired artwork by Janet Stever. I'm up here in kind of this area. I did just some background, not that many stitches either, so you probably won't be able to see what I did anyways, but I'm going to show you anyways, because that's what I do. 117 stitches, so not a ton, but over 100 is kind of my goal for anything. And it's now at 3.24%. This is a 28 count Mushroom Lugana 1/1 half cross. I don't even know if you can tell. There was like, I was kind of filling in my typewriter method vertically, and so there was one stitch in the border here that I hadn't yet to, one symbol that I had yet to do. So I picked that symbol, kind of worked it up a little bit, and then I came back up to the top of the next column and picked another symbol, was fairly light, and it got filled in there too. So not a whole lot to see, but this will keep coming out on the Sundays in October. So hopefully we'll get a little bit more obvious progress as we go along here. Okay, then I did a little bit of Great British Baking Show stitching, very little bit. 2 weeks ago, the week of the 22nd, I didn't do any because I was just so busy trying to get stuff ready for our trip that I couldn't even think about doing extra stuff. And then we watched the new episode. Do I not have that? Anyways, we watched the new episode on the 26th, but on the 27th, I didn't even get to my regular piece, let alone a bonus piece. So nothing got worked on for the episode that aired the 26th. And then we watched the next one on the 3rd. And that day, I believe I put in some stitching for the person who was eliminated the week before, because I knew they wouldn't come back again. I just like, well, let's just get that one done. So that one was Fantasy Triptych by Teresa Wensler. The contestant associated with this one got eliminated 2 weeks ago. So I did 2 links of floss on this, and I chose long, 4-foot long blends in the border. So I got a decent amount of stitches. And I don't think I'd worked on this for like 2 years, 3 years maybe. So it felt good to do something on it. So here's this one. And I don't know how many stitches because I don't count stitches when it's a paper pattern, but I did along the top there. There was a slightly lighter color along the top that I did. So it's a little thicker now. There's more border on the underside of what was there before too. That's not yet done, but I just stuck with the one color and went along. And it was the original color that was already here, this color, was a blend of 2 colors. The color on top had one of the colors was the same. The other color was a DMC that was 1 number off from the other one in this blend. So these blends are like very close together, but that's the magic of Teresa Wensler, is the subtle shading is like really, really subtle. So that was fun to do. And this one has a PDF available from Everything Cross Stitch. This is an actual PDF that might work in Pattern Keeper. But I will test it next year because I'm still kind of trying to regrow my budget for fun stuff because I kind of spent a lot this year. So I want to wait on a little bit on some of these digital things. Since this was easy, border is pretty easy to do. I just went ahead and did it for the paper pattern. But next year, I want to try to get that one and Enchanted English Garden Sampler to see, well, probably one at a time to see if they work in Pattern Keeper. And there's also the rest of the floral crosses I can pick up, and then Antique Shoe Collection I can pick up. I have the paper patterns, but the digitals are available. So I'll probably be picking those up along the way, but not until next year. So I'm like this close to not stitching the Great British Baking Show stuff anymore, but I really kind of still want to, because I feel like I would be quitting on my oldest whips if I quit the game. And I don't mind the thought of quitting the game. I just mind the thought of neglecting those projects. I'm like, this is a good opportunity to give him some attention. So I'm going to try to keep it up because I have a week and a half to make up now of baking show stitching. So I'm like, it's okay if I have to do it beyond when the show stops, because it's fine. It's not a big deal. So at this point I'm behind on the baking show stitching because we went on vacation and I didn't bring any of them with me to work on. So, but I still want to try to get caught up. It may take me some time, but we'll see. I'll keep chipping away at those ones. The other one I got behind on was my gridiron grind piece because I did not take that on our vacation either. And our game this week was on Monday. So we watched it in the hotel after we'd walked around all day long. It was nice to come home and just kind of rest and stitch and watch the football game. So this is a Crazy Wonderful Owl family because it represents our family, and I'm stitching this for our family's team, the Denver Broncos. So what I'm doing is, it's a no background version. So I'm doing it on colorful fabric. And I'm stitching 10 stitches per point that they make during the game. So 2 weeks ago, they, well, I guess the Monday that we were gone. So the Monday of the 29th, they got 28 points. And then yesterday on Sunday, they had 21 points. So I had 490 point stitches that I needed to do. And I got it done yesterday. So I was like, this is important to me to get caught up with this. So I just did this. I tried not to get distracted with my phone. I tried to focus my free time on this one, and I got it all done. Plus the 100 stitches on auto montage and a half hour on my new temperature piece, which I'll get into those in a minute. But this is where this is at now. And this is a 28 count Glacier Lugana by Picture This Plus, a 1/1 full cross. So I'm super happy with almost 500 stitches added to this since you saw it last. At first I was thinking, well, maybe I'll just pick some big blocks of color and it'll help the stitches go faster, but I couldn't get away from my typewriter method. So I just stuck with my typewriter method. Some of the colors didn't have very many stitches, so I was starting to stop in a little bit more. Took longer, but it was right in my brain. So I like that. I had a few more stitches in here. I did kind of brought them down. This got filled in a little bit more. And then I came over, started the next row, which was picking symbols right in here. So there's another 10 by 10 grid in here that's all done now. So the top of his eye got filled in. This orange came around a little bit more. Some of the stitches ended up coming into his wing too, which this doesn't start until the next row even. But some of these colors were done here and here, so I went ahead and did them in the wing. So there's a little bit done in all of those areas. And I'm so excited. And my son has high hopes that we'll get a lot of points this coming week, so I'm glad I got caught up in case I need to do a lot. But so far we've had 20 something every game. Win or lose, we've had 20 something points. So it's been a nice amount of progress on this, which is really cool. And I'm very, very happy with how this is going and how it's been kind of a fun connection to our football watching that my husband and son are like really into. So I'm definitely going to want to try to keep doing this next year. It's really fun with this same piece. It'll be a nice excuse to make good progress on that one. Okay, so my new bonus temperature stitching for October is the produce charts by Janet Stever that were charted by Page Free Crafts. These are all now retired. I picked them up the last week they were available, and because they were like, oh, those are really cute, I want to do those. So I'll show you all of them. Eggplants and bell peppers and tomatoes. I guess they're not in the order that they are. Blueberries, peaches, and strawberries. So what I did, because I decided I wanted to do, originally I was thinking maybe I will stitch on these in like chunks. So like the first, 4 or 5 days, I'll do one of them. And every day I'll add up the high and low temperatures, and that'll be my stitch number goal for the day on the piece. But as I was finishing up the La Vuelta challenge earlier in September with their stitch counts, I'm like, I kind of don't want to do stitch count goals anymore for my bonus stitching. I like the half hour. It's a little more loose as far as if I get under 100 stitches, it's fine. If I get over 100 stitches, it's fine. And I just do what I can in that time slot. And it feels a little bit freer than a number goal that I have to hit, that if I get a section that's got a lot of confetti, it could take me an hour and a half. I want to rein it in and keep it to a half hour. So I really like the half hour goal, which also is affecting my focus for a finish bonus plans for November and December, to try to adjust that to be a half hour as well and not be adding the highs and lows together like I was originally thinking. So I haven't 100% nailed that down yet, but I have all of October to figure it out. So what I did for this one is I ended up, there's 6 of these, which doesn't really lend itself very well to 5 or 10 temperatures, because I've often done 10 pieces, 1 through 9, each one gets a digit, or I did 5 pieces, each one gets 2 digits. So for this one, I picked my favorite 4, and they each get 2 digits, and then my least favorite 2 get 1 digit only. So, and I have it alphabetized because that's how I roll. So this is my list. Bell peppers gets 2 numbers, blueberries gets 2 numbers, eggplants get 2 numbers, peaches gets 1 number, strawberries gets 2 numbers, tomatoes gets 1 number. So what I was able to do this since I started this on the 1st, And originally I was like, well, I probably won't get to it on the 1st anyways, because it was the day we were traveling home. And so, but I ended up not having a lot of time, but I had about a half hour to work with. I'm like, well, rather than pick out something, I might as well get my half hour in, get my one of the things started, which is super fun. So I ended up 77 was the number we were working with that day. So that was my strawberries. I started this on the 1st. And my goal for these, obviously they all have a border that's quite similar. It's not exact. They are actually charted a little bit differently every time, because I think that's based on organic artwork. It's not computer generated drawings. So the chart is also different each time. But the borders are all very similar. So I didn't want to just do border on all 6 of them. I want to try to kind of hop and skip into something unique. So this one I'll eventually be headed to this thing because it's the highest point to this corner, which is where I like to start. So I haven't gotten there yet. In fact, I only have 36 stitches, because the other thing I noticed when I pulled these out, which you can't really see in this printout because of the way it's printed really lightly, but there's a border, really faint, light, pale, pale beigey white border around the outside of this border, the woven border. So I'm like, I ain't stitching that. So I ended up spending a part of my half hour on Wednesday marking off that border, because when I went in to start it, I was like, oh, I don't want to do that because it'll just blend into my fabric anyways. It's a waste of my time. I marked off 8,395 stitches off of the strawberries, which the other ones didn't mark off that much. They are all different. So, but that's how much, 6.89% of that pattern I am not stitching because I marked it off. So I put these rolls of fabric in these plastic sleeves. I got these sleeves from Carolyn Cizik Stitch. She had sent them to me and they were too wide for what I like. So I ended up cutting them in half and taping them with packing tape along the seam. And then I added regular Scotch tape here on the top to write on, to know this is strawberries. So I only got 36 stitches and it has not come out again. So it's very, very tiny little start, but this is my start. These are all 28 count Jobelin in white, 1/1 full cross. So there's my start. And I found that there's a really dark brown, 3371, I believe, that you can kind of count to pretty easily, has a lot of structure, bones of this border. So it's a nice one to kind of count through the border to get to where you want to go. So I'm starting with that color on all of these so far. And some of the other ones that have gotten more attention have other colors too, but that's the starting color because it's just the easiest one to kind of move it along to where you want to go. So that was the first one on Wednesday. Most of these on the other days, I managed to get the background marked off first thing in the morning, so that whenever I got to my stitching time later in the day, I just was able to get my full half hour stitching. But this one, because it was the travel day and everything, and I had a half hour to work with, period, most of my half hour was taken up by marking off the pattern, and then only got the 36 stitches. So it's now at 6.92% because I marked off the pattern. Then I started the very next day. The number I was working with was 81, which had me start bell peppers. And it actually was 81 the next day as well, and Sunday. So I worked on bell peppers 3 times. And I started in the corner, and I actually was able to find the edge of this leaf and got some of this leaf started, which is super fun. So this one already has a defining part in it, beyond the border. And this one had, I marked off 4,610 stitches of the border outside the border, like the background outside the border. And I stitched 83 stitches the first day, 93 stitches the second day, and 97 stitches the third day. It's now at 3.95% if you include that background edge I took out. So fun. So I did a length of that, 3371, and then I did a long length of green in the leaf, which is super cool. And then I went back up and found a lighter color, probably the next symbol that I needed to do, and worked that in the border. So I'll probably go back and forth now between border and leaf, but we'll see how it goes. If I just focus on the border now, and that leaf is obvious. Like there's also a flower at the top that cuts into the border, so it could be fun to head over there and work on that too. So we'll see. We'll see how often this one gets pulled out in the month of October. I'll be working on these 6 pieces all October for my half hours, so it'll be fun. And then the 4th, I started a 3rd one. I started eggplants. So this one, and this one, I think I will be headed to this right here. So I'm kind of heading over from the corner and over the edge of the border so I can head down that stalk of something. This one I marked off 4,451 stitches, and then I stitched 106. And it's now at 3.69% if you include all that background I took out. So this one looks like it did a short length of the 3371, and then I'm doing a darker, like a medium gray-brown color that kept going along the edge of this border right here. So I think the stalk comes out right here, which is going to be fun. So as soon as this color is finished on my needle, I'll start that stalk, because then I'll make sure I have a little bit of something that identifies it more clearly as the eggplant piece. I mean, I have all their names on here, but it is fun to pull it out and have it be something, not just a bunch of borders. So that was my goal for that. So 5 days I worked on 3 things. And then I believe, what got called for today? Blueberries, I think. So I'll be starting blueberries today, which is, I think it's going to be one of my favorites to stitch. Eggplants too, I think will be fun with the colors. Where is that one? There it is. I think that one will be really fun to stitch. So this one, I'll start in this corner. So I'll probably try to head over and start that leaf kind of thing. So that'll be fun. So that's exciting. So I'll keep working on those for a half hour each day, depending on the temperature, the high temperature, because they're all assigned a digit. I think that's everything I worked on since I saw you last. So that's a lot, and it was fun. So I'm glad to be home. I'm glad to get back into the rhythm of things. And so the plan for this week, we're going to get back into gift stitching and whip go stitching and miscellaneous. Let's work on all my projects before the end of the year kind of goals. So my gift stitch for this week is Lollipop. Now that we're back at the beginning of the month, that's the one I like to start with, because I kind of have these organized in order based on their special days. So like my daughter's birthday date number is first, and then my mom's anniversary date is next, and then my son's birth date, and then the last one is for a friend. So I have them in that order. So this is by Stitchin Crafts, artwork by Denise Garbus, and this one is fun to work on with all those blues and purples. Here's my starting point. This is a 40 count Verdal, 1/1, half cross. So I think I'm picking symbols over here in the clouds again. The top 2 or 3 rows are done, which is cool. So that one's fun. I'll be giving that today and tomorrow. And then one of my whip go calls for October is Blackwork Flower with butterflies, which is fun. So I'm excited to get back to this one. I think this might be the only time it's left on the whip go board. So if I finish it in this rotation, that would be fabulous. It'll get 2 days this week and 2 days next week. If I can't finish it in that amount of time, I will add it to my focus for a finish bonus stitching at the end for November and December. So this is by Leslie Tier. I believe I got this on her Etsy shop or website. I can't remember, but it's a pretty one. And I'm using my own colors, very similar to what's called for. And light blue Artiste Even Weave from Hobby Lobby. Cross stitches are 2/2. I think it's 28 count even weave. And then the back stitching is 1 or 3 strands. I think like these antennas are 2 strands. So just whatever it's called for. So this is my starting point. I need to finish this leaf, finish this butterfly, and then there's some like swirls and another little tiny bug over here and the rest of the border. So there's a chunk left, but it's not dense. I didn't realize I had done this much of this butterfly, so that's great. A lot of the dense stuff is done. So we'll see. 4 days might be enough to finish this if I have time to get to it. So that would be fantastic. And then I am still trying to get some attention on everything before the year is over. So the 2 pieces, I am picking a non-full coverage for Friday and a full coverage for Saturday. And this month, all of my non-full coverages are Fancy Ladies. Just worked out that way. First one is Edwardian Lady, which I recently just picked up the PDF of this one. 123 Stitches carrying Joan Elliott PDFs, so that was exciting to find, and I put this in Pattern Keeper. I still need to mark off my progress, but I think it'll be really fun to have this in Pattern Keeper, and I can move forward with, like, obviously the stitching will be a little bit easier process, but also I can see how many stitches are left, and they might make it into some of my games, which will be really fun. So this one is on a fabric flare fabric, I believe in Fairy Mist, maybe. It's a really pretty colorful fabric, printed on the front. It's a 32 count even weave, 2/2 full cross. So it looks like I need to finish her hair and work on her face. And this does have some back stitching, which I'll need to do. I'll reference the regular pattern for that. I did the top bit is all done. There's even a bead, or a few beads actually, in the flowers. And then there's back stitching around the edge of her hat already. So inside, what would be cool is if I could finish her face and back stitch it, but I only have 1 day, so probably not. But I can at least get started on her face. I do often like to get faces done, but I usually have more than 1 day to work on them, so we'll see. We'll see how I go. And then the full coverage I picked for this week is Princesse de Broly, which was one of my first Golden Kites, one of my first full coverages, honestly. Because Golden Kite was kind of the first company that I found, and I think I've explained this before, but I think it was my first Golden Kite because this was being retired on my birthday. And I thought, well, that's a sign. I've always loved this painting. Like when I was in music and art in college, I saw this and I was like, oh, I love that dress. So then when it was on sale on my birthday to be retired, I'm like, you know what? It's meant to be. I need to get it. So I started working on it on 18 count, 2/1, full cross. It was huge. I ended up getting her whole face done and a lot of her hair, some of the background. And then Pattern Keeper came, well, it got re-released on their site like a year or 2 later. And then Pattern Keeper came out, which I fell in love with, as you all know. And I went and purchased a small fee to get Pattern Keeper versions of all the Golden Kite ones I had. And this version, since it had been re-released, since I purchased it, was different in many ways from the original version that I had. So like, Pattern Keeper is worth it to me. I'll just restart it. It's a good opportunity to restart. So I'm not as far along on the face especially as I was before, but there is hope for the future. So this is my starting point. And this is a 28 count tea-dyed even weave. I think it's an MCG Textiles. Or no, Mushroom even weave by MCG Textiles. And it's a 2/1 half cross because it is a Golden Kite and has blends. So that's why I had done 18 before, because I knew it had blends. But then since then I had discovered, oh, I can go smaller and still have 2 strands if I do a half stitch. So I have some face color on my needles. I'll do that for sure. And maybe we'll see if I do more face or if I do some background. We'll see. Just have, again, 1 day on that, so it'll get some attention, not a ton. But I'm excited to make this progress a little farther. And hopefully everything will get at least 2 days next year. Now everything gets 1 day, but I'm focusing on my Whip Go pieces, giving them lots of days. So I'm not going to do Whip Go next year and instead give gift stitches 3 days a week. All my pieces 2 days a week, not do seasonal Sunday. So I'm kind of like rearranging things for next year, and I'm really happy about it. So I think it'll be good. Sunday, I do plan to do more gridiron grind stuff on my Crazy Wonderful Owl family, assuming we get some points, and autumn montage. So, and all throughout the week, I'll be working on those produce patterns by Janet Stieber for my daily 30 temperatures. And if I feel like I have extra time, I will throw in some Great British Baking Show stitching. We'll see. I have quite a few things that need to get worked on. I need to work on Love Letter. I need 4 lengths of thread put into Love Letter. 3 lengths of thread on End of the Ball. Waterfall in Yosemite needs 1 length. 80 of the Garden Fairy gets a length. In the Beginning gets a length. And I think that's it. So it'll be fun to get to some of those. So we'll have to wait and see what my time looks like this week. So we'll see. And Smokey stayed with us this time, which is nice. Yeah. With that, I think I have talked long enough, and you're all updated now, and I'm happy to be back. I hope you have a wonderful week, a beginning of your October, and happy stitching. Bye.